So today we will discuss about context. Okay, first we will learn what is the definition of the context. The context means dividing a single physical firewall into multiple virtual firewall. This is context. Okay, we didn't understand with this definition. We will make a topology. Suppose, okay, into virtual firewall. Yes, we will take the example. The example is like this. Suppose we are in the college. Okay, in college we have students and teachers. So I want to make a topology like this. That this is my ASA. My ASA is connected to the ISP. This is my ISP. ASA ISP. Okay. One link is for the student and another link is for the teacher. If teacher traffic is coming and is going to the ISP, they can access everything, even Facebook, Yahoo, YouTube, everything. But if student traffic is coming and that is going out, they can they cannot access YouTube or Facebook. Okay, they cannot access these things. So what I will do, I will divide this firewall, this ASA, into two logical firewall, ASA1, ASA2. Physically it is a single box. Physically it is a single box, but logically I divided into two parts. One part that will allow everything. That will allow everything. The other part will allow only normal things, but deny the YouTube and Facebook. Okay. We will make one more example. For example, we have two departments in our company. One department is called management team and another department is finance. Okay, I want the traffic that is coming from the management team. They can do TCP, UDP and ICMP. But finance team can only perform TCP and UDP. They cannot do ICMP. This is ISP. So we will take this topology and we will perform the task that we will divide the firewall into two parts. This is the first part. In this, whatever link or whatever interface is connected, it will allow the TCP, UDP and ICMP. And this will only allow TCP and UDP. So basically we divided the firewall. This is 1 and this is 2. 1 is allowing, the first part is allowing TCP, UDP and ICMP. The second part is only allowing TCP and UDP. This means we are dividing a single physical firewall. We have a single box, but we are dividing it into multiple virtual firewall. It depends upon the license. We have to purchase a license. The basic license can divide the firewall into two. If you buy a security plus license, it can divide into four parts. And for further, you need to purchase the license, and license. So if I take the access, let me show you the license. ASA show version. This is the license feature for this platform. You can use all the physical interfaces which are defined in the box. You can use them. Maximum VLAN you can create is 100. You can perform failover both active and active standby. VPN features are enable. Context, how many contexts you can create? Only 2. If you increase it, it will show you. And this is one more license we have, that is called Security Plus license. In Security Plus, some features are advanced, but our same, the license is same for the context. That we can create only 2 context. This is how we can view the license. It is by show version. These are the features that we can view now. Now, by default, firewall works in by default firewall works in single mode. Firewall works in single mode. It will consider him as a single physical firewall and single logical firewall. Single mode means single physical and it is also a single logical firewall. Okay, it will work as a single. Now, if I move the firewall into mode multiple, firewall is equal to now my mode is multiple. Before that the mode is single. Here the mode is multiple. Now up to license, we can divide the firewall into logical. According to our license, we can divide it into 2 logical parts. How to convert a firewall into single to multiple? We have the command. No logging. So first of all, we will see this is in transparent. Okay, we will say firewall transparent and we will put no. Firewall transparent. Show firewall. Now it will move to router. Now I will put show mode. It is in single mode. Single device, single logical device. I want to divide this firewall into multiple logical firewall. I will type mode multiple. This command will change the behavior of the device. This command will reboot the device. I said enter. It will be reboot. So the command is mode multiple. To convert the firewall into multiple firewall, the first command is mode multiple. We will wait for its boot. So the device is booted. Okay. Now I will put show mode. The mode is multiple. Okay. By default, my device in single mode. How to view it? The command is show mode. Now I want to convert it into multiple mode. I will type the command mode multiple. I will type the command mode multiple. Now my device is in multiple mode. Now I need to check my license. How much context I can create? The command is show version. It can create only 2 contexts. The command to create the context is context.
What means context is
A logical firewall.
Logical firewall.
Yes, context. Context means a logical firewall. So if I put a name context C1, this means there is a logical firewall that is called C1. If I put context C2, this means I have a logical firewall that is name is C2. Okay, the logical firewall C2. Okay, this is a name. Context means the logical firewall, not the physical. So I will put context C1 without creating context C1 and done. Okay, I will say context C2. Okay, now context C3 cannot create context C3 exceeded license limit on the maximum number of security contexts. This means I will not able to context the 3 because my license is saying that you can create only 2. Now we understand two things. The first thing, by default my firewall works on single mode. How can I view it? By show mode. The second thing, if I need to go to multiple mode, I will type command mode multiple. Good. Now the third thing, if I do want to create a logical firewall, I will type context and any name. I will give C1 and context C2. These are the logical firewalls. Now next question. This is my topology for today. R1, ASA, then R2, R3. Today I will use two different interfaces. R4. Tomorrow I will use only a single interface. So G0, G1, G2, G3. Okay. This R1 can access TCP, UDP, and ICMP. And R3 can use TCP and UDP, no ICMP. I will run the command fix up protocol ICMP to allow the ICMP traffic, but I will run this command in the context C1 and I will not run the command in context C2. So only the interfaces that are allocated in context C1 can access, can allow the ping. This is how I will do it. Let me tell you again, R1 can telnet SSH or can initiate ping to R2, but R3 cannot perform ping. So I divide it, I will give a name C1 and I'm here I will give a name C2. Okay, this is my task.
I have a question.
Yes, question.
In this case,
Yes.
the R1 can access to R4?
No.
No. It's completely separate.
This is a completely separate. Yes. We will use GNS. So R1 is not connected to, but I can give the route to R4. We can perform that is called intercontext routing. That the traffic of this, I want to move this traffic from one context C1 to C2. That is called intercontext routing. My traffic is moving from C1 to C2, then going to R4, and reply is coming from R4, then it's going from C2 to C1, then it is forwarded to R1. We will do it, but today is very simple task. C1, C2, C1 can allow ICMP also, and C2 cannot. I will use first DNS, then I will use the real rack. Okay, or first I will use the real. Okay, I will use the real rack. First, I will configure the topology. So our topology is like this: R1, ASA, R2. The IP address of R1 is 12.1.1.1, 12.1.1.2. Interface G0 by 0, G0 by 1, 23 1.1.1 and 23 1.1.2. R3, the IP address is completely different, 192.168.1.1.2. The interface is G0 by 3, sorry 2, and it is G0 by 3. R4, 192.168.2.1 and 2.2. This is our IP addressing of the topology. So I will assign the IP addresses only. IP address and I will give a default route. This is R2. Interface E3 by 0. 23.1.2. Notion. IP now R3 and I will give a default route. Okay, I missed 1 0 and here also. I assign all the routers. Now I will assign the firewall. Now assigning is not easy. Assigning the interface to the firewall is not easy. As soon as you type mode multiple, okay, as soon as you type mode multiple, we need to define context, right? We created two contexts, context C1 and context C2. But by default, if you didn't configure anything, like it is a fresh configuration, like we just type mode multiple, you will be in the system context. System context means that you can create all the different context. This means you are the root user. Okay, if you are taking the console, the system context will only available if you are taking console of the ASA. Then you can define all the context, assign the interfaces in the context. You can do all these things. This is what system context will do. Let me differentiate it. This is the first topic is system context, right? It is used to create different context. But we cannot assign the IP address to the interface through this context. But we can allocate interface to context, or I can set physical property of interface. Three physical properties: speed, duplex, and shut, no shut. I can do only these things in the system context. And there is one more context that is automatically created, that is called admin context. This is only activated when you are taking console. Okay. If I am taking console, I will be landed in the system context. If I am taking telnet or SSH, I will be landed in the same features. Same features. everything. I can use this, I can create different contexts, allocate interfaces, set physical property, this.
Because don't put same what
Same everything.
features.
Yes.
No. Right.
Okay, it's okay, writing is show context. Show context. I'm taking the telnet of the device, that's why I landed on the admin context. Okay, show run context. I don't have any context, I have just only admin context. If I deleted this admin context, config clear configure, admin context is also removed. Okay, now if you try to create a new context c1, it is saying first you should have admin context, because you are taking telnet access of the device, means you should have a admin context. So please first create the admin context. In the lab also, maybe your device is booted in mode multiple, but it doesn't have any admin context. So if you try to create the context, it is prompting like this, first create the admin context. So you should aware how to create the admin context. The command is admin context and the name is admin. I created the admin context. This is how I will create the admin context. It will also not work now. Why? Because he is asking, okay, you created the admin context, good, but tell me if any configuration that the user is performed in admin context where I want to store, like maybe in flash, maybe disk 1, anywhere. So tell me the configuration URL where I want to store the configuration of the user. Where should I store the configuration? So I will say context admin, and the configuration you want to store is disk 0, and the name of the configuration is CF show history. This is how I will create the admin context. Admin context. If there is no admin context, then only. If it is already defined, no need to create. Now I can create two contexts. The one is context C1. But for this also, this context also, I need to define the configuration files. I will say configuration. Store all the configuration to the disk 0 with the name of c1.cfg. See, cfg is the format. CFG is the format. We cannot do like this. Why CFG? So it is the format. And one more context. Context C2. Store all the configuration, whatever the configuration in the, like any access list, any routing policies, that in the context store in the config URL c2.cfg. Show run. I can put show. Star means currently I am in this context. Star means currently I am in this context. I am in admin context. This means I can create different context. C1, C2, disk 0, disk 1. I didn't configure any interfaces with them. So now we will learn how to allocate the interfaces. This is my topology. So in context C1, this is C1 and this is C2. So I need to assign these 0 by 0 and 0 by 1 to C1. How I will do it? really easy. I will go to context C1 and say allocate interface G0 by 0 and allocate interface G0 by 1. I will go to context C2, allocate interface G0 by 2 and G0 by 3. Show context. This perfect. Okay. I cannot assign the IP address to the interfaces in the admin context. Now I will switch to context C1. Change to context C1. Now I am not in the admin context. Now I am in the C1 context. Now I will tell you one good thing, a good troubleshoot. I have only two interfaces, right? Let me assign the IP addresses. 12.1.2. Notion. Name is in. Notion. Name is outside and the IP address 23.1.1. Okay. Still, my line protocol is down. Why? This is a good troubleshoot. In the admin context, even in the lab, Taka, don't sleep. Japanese eyes are closed. Even in the lab also, most of the students face this problem. Every student face this problem, most. That they configure everything, but their line protocol is down. So they move to switch. That maybe my line protocol is due to switch, but not. Just go to change context, system, and see here, show in IP brief. My states are down. So I need to go motion, motion, show int IP brief. All interfaces up. Now I will say change to context C1, and if I put show int IP brief, my line protocol is up. This is the problem in the admin context. Sorry, in the so now my interfaces are up and my protocol is also up. Now let's try to ping R1. Ping ping. I can ping R1, right? And let's try to ping R2. I can ping R2. Let's try to telnet. Telnet 23.1.2. I can telnet, but I cannot ping. So I will run the command fix up protocol ICMP. Now I can ping. My first context means my first virtual firewall is initialized. Let's initialize the second firewall. I will say change to context C2. Interface G0 by 2. IP address is 1.2. Notion name is inside. Notion name is outside. And the IP address is 2.1. Exit. Show int IP brief. My interfaces are up, my LAN protocols are up. Okay. Now let me try to ping from here to my R3, that is 192.168.1. I can ping. I can ping. Let me tell that from here. I can tell them, but I cannot ping because fix-up protocol is not running. This means my firewall is divided into two logical firewall. One logical firewall is passing the traffic plus fix-up protocol ICMP is running. This means my ICMP can go out and come in, but the another firewall is not allowing the ICMP. So this is our configuration of admin context. Now how to define context C1 locate. First I need to initialize it. So how to initialize? I will define the name of C1 and locate interface 0 by like this. This is how we need to perform the configuration. If I have context C2, I will allocate some different interface into C2. So this is called the basic firewall. How to divide the basic firewall into logical and how to allow the context.
Before you have to